Hello everyone. It's very early here in the morning, and I know it's very late in some countries. For some time now, the Lord has been talking to me about His will and plan, and He's been using the story of Anna in the Bible. 1 Samuel chapter 1, 1 Samuel chapter 2. And it has really helped me to examine my motives, talking about Anna, and come to the realization that God often allows a season of delay and trials in our lives to bring us to a place of surrender and alignment with His will or plan for our lives. Anna was one of the wives of Elkanah, and we are made to know that she had no children because the Lord had shut her womb in 1 Samuel chapter 1. The question I kept asking myself was, why did God shut the womb of Anna? Have you ever thought about why God shut the womb of Anna? Have you ever thought about why God allowed Anna to go through a season of delay and trials before giving birth to Samuel? Do you know that most parents have already decided on who they want their children to become in future, even before giving birth to them? Parents would love to see their children become doctors, lawyers, engineers, football players, and oftentimes the children have no say, especially in my country. These parents would even begin to make sacrifices and put things in place just to ensure that their dream for the lives of their kids come to pass. I mean, there's nothing wrong in parents taking care of their kids, making sacrifices, It's a good thing. But this is what I want you to see. I believe that if Anna had not gone through a season of delay, she would have acted the same way concerning Samuel. God had ordained that the child that will come forth from Anna's womb would be his prophet. But until Anna came to a place of surrender and alignment with God's plan, her womb was shut. I believe this wasn't the first, second, or third time that Anna cried to God for a child, but this was the first time she asked God for a child for the right reason. All I would say, the first time a reason for wanting a child agreed with God's plan for the child. When you read verses 11 of 1 Samuel chapter 1, it says, "And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your servant, and remember me and not forget your servant, but will give your servant a son, then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall touch his head." Anna didn't ask God for a child for herself, but for God. Anna didn't ask God for a child so that she may have someone that will take care of her when she is old, but that God may have someone that will take care of his house. Hannah didn't ask God for a child to shut up Peninnah, who kept on provoking her, when you read the story. Or Anna didn't ask God for a child to put Peninnah to shame, but that God may have a prophet in Israel. Anna didn't ask God for a child to compete with Peninnah or to prove her wrong, but that God may have a messenger delivering his messages to his people. Brethren, self and the wrong motive was out of the way. It was not recorded that Peninnah dedicated any of her children to God all the days of their lives. It was not recorded. If Anna had gotten children the same time as Peninnah, I doubt if she would have dedicated any of them to God all the days of their lives. I doubt if she would have allowed any of her children to go live and serve in the house of God all the days of their lives. The season of delay that Hannah had to go through was not in vain, because it brought her to a place of surrender and alignment with God's plan. In those years that Abraham had no child, God was doing something unique in his life, such that when Abraham finally had a child and God requested that the child be offered as a sacrifice, Abraham didn't object. He didn't refuse, but obeyed God without delay. Some doors are yet to be opened. I believe some doors are yet to be opened, and some requests are yet to be granted, not because you don't have enough faith or because the enemy is standing against it, but because you are yet to come to a place of surrender and alignment with God's plan. Brethren, it's not only your faith that God looks at, He also looks at your motives. He looks at your desire. He looks at your agenda. James said in James chapter 4 verse 3, you ask and you do not receive, because you asked wrongly to spend it on your passions. We all have an agenda for whatever we are praying to God for. My question to you is this: is God and His plan part of your agenda? Is it all about you and what you want to achieve? Or is it all about God and what He wants done? Are you praying for God to prosper you so that you can buy the latest cars, begin to show off and party, or that you may give towards the propagation of the gospel of Christ? Anna had a child not until after she made a vow to give the child back to God, to serve in His house all the days of his life. The motive behind why we want what we are praying to God for must align or agree with God's plan. Brethren, I believe God often allows a season of delay or trials in our lives to bring us to a place of total surrender and alignment with His plan. A place where it will no longer be me, but God and His kingdom. A place where you no longer ask God for anything for the wrong reasons, but for the right reasons. A place where we no longer want anything for self-gratification, but for God glorification. A place where when God puts a demand on what He has given us, we won't refuse or delay in surrendering those things. And the Bible says in 1 John 5 verse 14, and this is the confidence that we have towards Him, that if we'll ask anything according to His will, He hears us. And brethren, I'm going to end with this. There are some prayers that won't be answered, doors that won't be opened, battles that won't be won, and resources that won't be released until we come to a place of surrender and alignment with God's plan. I pray this blesses you. God bless you and have a wonderful night rest.